Welcome back, students, to your English Literature Class 7th novel. The chapter which we were studying was The Tempest. This is the final and the last part of the chapter. Now, before jumping into the last session, let's take a short recap. In the previous sessions and the clips, we saw that how Prospero and Miranda landed on the island, what were the circumstances, and how Prospero decided to bring all his enemies to the island. And by ordering Ariel, one of his chief spirits, he decided to trouble his enemies and take revenge. He also plotted to bring Ferdinand and Miranda together, and his plan worked well. Prospero, now after taking revenge, is confused that whether he should move ahead or whether he should leave all the enmity. Now let's see what happens in this final part of the chapter.
Down in the jungle, King Alonso and the courtiers have given up hope of finding Ferdinand. Most of them are moping. Antonio and Sebastian are plotting murder. Again, big surprise. Prospero walks invisible among them, then nods to Ariel. Immediately, wild animals roar and crash through the trees. The courtiers panic and run about. More terrible noises. Then silence. Before they have time to recover, Prospero clicks his fingers, and a massive banquet appears, tables piled high with everyone's favorite food. The starving courtiers rush to the tables. But then, whoosh, Ariel appears like a terrible monster and flies all around them. Then he waves his giant wings over the meal, and it disappears. "Oh dear, I am enjoying this," says Prospero, as the courtiers run everywhere, shrieking in terror. Finally, Ariel floats above Alonso, Antonio, and Sebastian, and tells them they are being punished by the gods for all the terrible things they've done. In horror, the three of them run off into the jungle. "Very nicely done," says Prospero. "Who's next?" "The drunks," says Ariel, and with a whiz, the magician and his assistant disappear, only to reappear by the cave. Just in time to catch Caliban, Trinculo, and Stefano. They're nicking Prospero's spare magician's clothes and heading off with big sticks to kill him. "Do your stuff, Ariel," says Prospero. So Ariel conjures up a pack of demon dogs and chases them away into the jungle too. Alone now, Prospero sits and shakes his head. Human beings. Leave them alone on an island for a day, and look what they get up to, he thinks. But should he punish them, or have they learnt their lesson? Is it time to forget all this magician nonsense? Is it time to forgive and forget? Prospero looks far out to sea, and ponders these questions. But the answer doesn't lie out at sea, it lies within himself. Prospero sits in his invisibility cloak and watches the miserable courtiers, huddled together weeping under a tree. No matter how evil they once were, it seems they genuinely have repented. He decides he must forgive them. He summons Ariel, tells him to find Caliban and the drunks and bring them to the beach. Next, he must go to the ship and release all the sailors from their spell. "Will I then be free?" asks Ariel. "Very soon, dear spirit," says Prospero. "Very soon." With a joyful whoosh, Ariel's gone. Prospero now removes his cloak and hurls it into the air. It disappears. He takes his magic book and closes it. It disappears too. Finally, he grasps his magic staff and breaks it across his knee. A crack of lightning, and he steps forward, no longer Prospero the magician, but once again Prospero, Duke of Milan. The courtiers are amazed to see him. Alonso begs his forgiveness, which is given. If only my dear son Ferdinand were still alive, says Alonso. At which point, arm in arm, Ferdinand and Miranda emerge onto the beach. And they're not just alive, says Prospero. They have my permission to marry too. Well, as you can expect, there are all kinds of hugs and kisses and explanations. Now Caliban, Trinculo and Stefano appear. Miserable, hungover, and finally, round the point and heading for the beach comes the lost ship. Its crew fit and healthy, and the sails looking better even than when they left port.
Nicely done, Ariel. Nicely done.
Is that all, Master? Am I?
Yes, Ariel, you are free. Your work is over, and so is mine. It is time for me, time for us all, to return to our old lives and make them new.
The ship's boats pull up on the shore, and the castaways climb aboard. Caliban, now free just like Ariel, scratches his head and waves them off. Soon the ship is ready to leave. The anchors are pulled aboard, the wind fills the sails, and the island with no name grows smaller on the horizon. They're going home.
So I hope, students, the chapter is very clear to you. Now after this session you will be getting the reference to context, and your job is to copy the question answers in your fair copies and also learn them. Thank you very much and have a nice day.